I needed someone who was actually here for me, she said while cheating with my best friend during my deployment, so I left without a word. Now she's a single mom begging me to come back. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I met Sarah when I was 23 and stupid enough to think love conquered everything. She was working at a coffee shop near the base, had this laugh that made you forget whatever was bothering you. We moved in together after 6 months, started talking about marriage after 2 years. She said she wanted the whole thing, white dress, kids, maybe a dog. I was ready to give her all of it. Sarah wasn't like the other military girlfriends. She never complained about the uncertainty, never got jealous of the brotherhood we had in the unit. She'd pack extra food when I brought guys over, always made them feel welcome. Marcus especially, she'd known him almost as long as I had, since he'd introduced us at a barbecue. You're lucky to have friends like that, she'd tell me after Marcus would leave. Not everyone has someone they can trust with anything. The irony of those words would hit me later. I'd been saving money for an engagement ring. Had it picked out, and everything. A simple solitaire at the jewelry store downtown. The owner, Mr. Henderson, was a Vietnam vet who gave military discounts. I put it on layaway, planning to propose when I got back from deployment. When my unit got deployment orders for Afghanistan, Sarah cried for 3 days. 8 months felt like forever back then. I held her at the airport, promised I'd call every day, told her we'd start planning the wedding as soon as I got back. I'll be here when you get home, she whispered against my neck. I promise. Marcus said he'd check on me, make sure I'm okay. You don't have to worry about anything. He's a good friend, I said, kissing her forehead. The best. The first month overseas, we video chatted every night. She'd show me what she cooked for dinner, tell me about her day at the salon where she'd started working. I'd describe the mountains, the people, anything that wasn't classified. The connection wasn't always great, but we made it work. Marcus stopped by today, she mentioned during one call in month 2. Helped me fix the leaky faucet you were worried about. He's so handy. That's great. I owe him one. He said not to worry about it. Said he was happy to help while you're away. By month 3, the calls got shorter. She seemed tired, distracted. Marcus came up more often in conversation, helping with her car, fixing the garbage disposal, bringing groceries when she was sick. You're lucky to have him looking out for me, she said one night. But something in her voice seemed different. Distant. I figured she was adjusting to me being gone. By month 5, we were texting more than talking. I told myself it was normal. Long distance was hard on everyone. In month 6, she stopped mentioning Marcus altogether. When I asked how he was doing, she'd change the subject or give short answers. He's fine. Busy with work. Tell him I said thanks for everything. Sure. But I could tell she wasn't passing along my messages. In month 7, I got lucky. My unit completed our mission ahead of schedule, and they offered early leave to volunteers who wanted to rotate home. I jumped at the chance. Wanted to surprise Sarah, maybe finally give her that ring I'd been making payments on. I didn't tell her I was coming home. Spent the entire flight imagining her face when I walked through the door. The apartment looked the same from the outside. I used my key, expecting to find Sarah watching TV or reading one of those romance novels she loved. Instead, I found a men's jacket I recognized hanging on the chair where I used to put my uniform shirt. Marcus's jacket. My best friend since high school, Marcus. The living room had 2 wine glasses on the coffee table. Sarah's shoes were by the door, but so were men's boots. Size 11. Marcus's size. I could hear voices from the bedroom. Laughter. The sound of the bed creaking. I stood there for maybe 30 seconds, letting it sink in. Then I walked down the hall and opened the bedroom door. Jake. Sarah scrambled to pull the sheet up, her face white as paper. Oh my God, you're supposed to be, I got leave. Wanted to surprise you. Marcus sat up, running his hands through his hair. Same Marcus who'd driven me to the airport 8 months ago, who'd promised to look after Sarah while I was gone. Dude, I can explain. Get out of my bed, Marcus. Sarah was shaking, clutching the sheet to her chest. Jake, please, just let me. How long? It's not what you think. How long? Marcus grabbed his boxers from the floor. 3 months, man. Look, it just happened. 3 months. I looked around the room. Marcus's clothes in the hamper. His deodorant on the dresser. You moved in? Sarah's voice cracked. I needed someone who was actually here for me, Jake. You chose the military over us. I stared at her. This woman I'd planned to marry was sitting in our bed, naked, telling me that serving my country was somehow betraying her. You left me alone for 8 months, she continued, her voice getting louder. What did you expect? I expected you to keep your word. Words are easy when you're not the one stuck here dealing with real life. Marcus was pulling on his jeans now, trying to look anywhere but at me. She was crying herself to sleep. Jake. I was just being there for her. At least Marcus actually shows up, Sarah said. At least he puts me first. I was serving our country. You were serving yourself. Her face was red now, angry. Playing soldier while I handled everything here. What everything? I left you money. I called every day. Money isn't a boyfriend, Jake. Marcus actually listens to me. And sleeps in our bed apparently. It's my bed now. You made your choice when you deployed. I looked at both of them. Sarah, defiant and furious, like I was the one who'd done something wrong. Marcus, pathetic and defensive, trying to justify betraying his best friend. I didn't say another word. I walked to the closet and started pulling out my clothes. The ones I'd left behind, the civilian stuff I'd been looking forward to wearing again. I found my old duffel bag and started packing. Jake, what are you doing? Sarah asked. I kept packing. My books, my watch, the picture of my dad in his army uniform. Jake, stop. We need to talk about this. I folded my clothes methodically, the way the army had taught me. Everything neat, everything in its place. You can't just leave, Marcus said. Come on, man. I picked up the framed photo of Sarah and me from last Christmas. We looked happy, young. I set it face down on the dresser and kept packing. Say something. Sarah was crying now. You can't just ignore us. I zipped up the duffel bag, slung it over my shoulder, and walked to the kitchen. Took my keys out of my pocket, removed the apartment key, and set it on the counter next to the coffee maker I'd bought her for her birthday. Jake, please. I walked out and closed the door behind me. I spent that night in a motel, staring at the ceiling and trying to figure out what I was supposed to feel. Anger seemed too small. Sadness too clean. Mostly I felt tired. Like I'd been carrying something heavy for a long time and finally set it down. The next morning, I called Tony, a guy from my unit who'd gotten out 6 months earlier. He let me crash on his couch while I figured things out. I didn't answer Sarah's calls or texts. Blocked her number after the first 50 messages. Blocked Marcus too. I processed my discharge paperwork early, used my GI benefits to get certified in private security. Turned out there was good money in personal protection, especially if you had military experience. Within 3 months, I had steady work. Within 6 months, I had my own apartment. Within a year, I'd saved enough to put a down payment on a house. I didn't hear anything about Sarah or Marcus directly, but small towns talk. They'd broken up after 2 months. Apparently, Marcus had been seeing other women the whole time, including Sarah. She'd gotten pregnant right around the time she found out about his other girlfriends. Marcus disappeared after that. Heard he moved to California, left Sarah to deal with everything alone. I felt nothing when I learned this. No satisfaction, no sympathy. It was just information, like hearing about strangers on the news. I met Rachel at a fundraiser for veteran mental health services. She was a nurse at the VA hospital, had kind eyes, and didn't ask too many questions about my past. We started dating slowly, carefully. She understood that some people came back from deployments with invisible wounds. By our first anniversary, I knew I wanted to marry her. By our second, we were engaged. She was everything Sarah wasn't: steady, honest, loyal. She understood that sometimes duty came first, and she never made me choose between loving her and serving something bigger than myself. The VFW hall was packed for the annual Veteran Appreciation Dinner. Rachel and I had just finished eating when I saw her. Sarah looked older, tired. She was thinner than I remembered, wearing a uniform from one of the chain restaurants downtown. She was scanning the room, and when her eyes found mine, her face lit up with something desperate. She walked over while Rachel was in the bathroom. Jake, please, can we talk? I looked up from my coffee. I don't think we have anything to talk about. I made a mistake. The biggest mistake of my life. Okay. Marcus left me. He was cheating the whole time. Sorry to hear that. I'm raising his kid alone. Working doubles at the diner and cleaning offices at night. That sounds rough. She slid into the chair across from me without being invited. I realize now what I lost. What we had was real. What we had ended 8 months ago. I know you still love me. You can't just turn that off. You'd be surprised what you can turn off when you need to. We were going to get married. We had plans. You made different plans. I was scared and lonely. People make mistakes. Some mistakes have consequences. Her voice was getting louder, drawing looks from other tables. So that's it. You're just done? What about forgiveness? I forgave you a long time ago. Doesn't mean I want you back. You think you're better than me now? With your fancy job and your new girlfriend? I studied her face. Once upon a time, that face had been the first thing I wanted to see in the morning and the last thing before I went to sleep. Now it might as well have belonged to a stranger. I don't think about you at all anymore, Sarah. She flinched like I'd slapped her. She'll never know you like I did. She'll never love you like I did. You're right. She'll never betray me like you did either. You're making a mistake. We belong together. We belong together. Past tense. Now we're strangers. Jake, please. Her voice broke. I'm begging you. Don't beg. It doesn't suit you. Go home to your kid. This is because of Marcus, isn't it? Because it was him. This is because of you. Because you chose to betray me. Rachel appeared beside our table, her hand gentle on my shoulder. Everything okay, babe? I looked up at my fiancé. Beautiful, honest Rachel, who'd never made me feel like loving her was a choice between her and everything else I cared about. Yeah, we're done here. Sarah was just leaving. Sarah looked between us, taking in Rachel's engagement ring, the easy way we fit together, the life I'd built without her. That should have been me, she whispered. I stood up, put my arm around Rachel's waist. No, it shouldn't have. As we walked away, I heard Sarah calling my name one more time. I didn't turn around. Later, as Rachel and I drove home to the house I'd bought with my security work money, she asked if I was okay. I'm perfect, I said and meant it. The woman who'd once promised to wait for me, who'd claimed I'd chosen the military over her, was now working 2 jobs to support another man's child. The best friend who'd betrayed me had vanished the moment things got difficult. And me? I was engaged to a woman who understood that love meant loyalty, who'd never asked me to choose between her and my principles. I owned a house, had money in the bank, and slept soundly every night. Sometimes the best revenge is just living well while the people who betrayed you learn what consequences actually feel like. I never saw Sarah again after that night, and I never wanted to. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.